Hello, young scholars. Welcome to my channel. How many of you like scary stories? Maybe you watch scary movies with your parents or older siblings. Well, today I want to tell you a scary story myself, but don't worry, I promise I won't scare you. This story is a little bit old. It's about a creepy old house. Let's call it the House of the Seven Gables. The story is from a book by an American author named Nathaniel Hawthorne. He wrote the story in 1851. It was part of a series of books called Gothic novels. Do you know what those are? Gothic novels are stories that use mystery, fear, and the supernatural. Some authors of Gothic novels made up spooky stories to scare people. Other authors, like Nathaniel Hawthorne, used these scary stories to talk about serious topics like family and society. So let's begin our scary story. Imagine a dark and rainy day. You're walking down a road and you see an old mansion ahead. It's surrounded by tall trees that hide its windows. All you can see are seven pointy parts sticking out of the roof. That's why people call it the House of the Seven Gables. As you get closer, you notice that the paint is falling off the walls. There are cobwebs everywhere, and the front door looks like someone might be hiding behind it. No one has lived in this house for a long time. People say it's haunted, and if you're ever near it on a dark and windy night, you can hear sad voices coming from inside. In this story, we meet a kind woman named Pyncheon. She's too poor to pay rent, so she lives in the haunted house for free. One day, she opens a small shop in the front of the house. Then she can sell cookies and tea to make money. At that time, most women stayed at home. They didn't work in shops, so Hephzibah's friends and neighbors think her shop is very strange. They also think it's strange that she lives in such a creepy house. Many years before Hephzibah moved in, there was a rich man who lived in the house. His name was Colonel Pyncheon. He was very mean. He liked having power over other people. A long time ago, he wanted some land that belonged to a man named Matthew Mole. But the colonel didn't want to pay Matthew for the land, so he did something terrible. He said Matthew was a witch and took his land. Then Matthew was put to death. Before he died, he said, "God will give you blood to drink." When the colonel died, his mouth was full of blood, so maybe Matthew's words were true. Or maybe it was just a coincidence. After that, bad things started happening to the colonel's family. One after another, they lost everything they had. Now it's been many years since anyone in the Pyncheon family has been happy. Hephzibah is tired of living in the dark, creepy house. But she can't afford to move somewhere else. She is very proud. She thinks the house and her family are both very important. Even though they're poor, she doesn't want to sell the house. Her family's name is more important to her than money. She's too proud to ask other people for help. So she's stuck in the creepy house. One day, a man knocks on her door. He asks if he can rent a room in her house. His name is Holgrave. He's a photographer. Hephzibah agrees to let him stay in the house, but she doesn't like him very much. She thinks he's strange. Holgrave doesn't talk much. He spends most of his time taking pictures of rocks and plants. He doesn't have any friends, but he doesn't seem to mind. Then one day, a happy young girl arrives at the house. Her name is Phoebe. She's the daughter of Hephzibah's brother, Clifford. Years ago, he did something wrong and went to jail. Now he's come home after being gone for 30 years. When Hephzibah sees Clifford again, she's very surprised. She doesn't recognize her own brother. He's weak and sick and has to hold onto the walls for support. He doesn't remember much about his life. Soon, Clifford and Hephzibah's lives become a little easier. They spend their days sitting quietly. They talk about nature and art. Phoebe likes to take long walks in the forest near the house. She collects shells and flowers and rocks. She gives them to Holgrave so he can take pictures. He makes her laugh and she makes him smile. After living in the dark house for so long, everyone feels happier. But then one day, a tall, handsome man arrives. His name is Jaffrey Pyncheon. He's a judge. He's rich and important. He's also the closest relative to Clifford and Hephzibah. He wants to take care of them, but really he just wants to use them. He wants to take over the family business and make sure no one else gets any money. He tells Hephzibah she has to give him something important. It's a piece of paper that shows who owns the land under the house. If he has the paper, he can sell the house and make a lot of money. Frey tries to scare Clifford, so he'll give him the paper. He says he knows what happened years ago when Clifford went to jail. He threatens to tell everyone what Clifford did. But Clifford doesn't care what people think. He doesn't remember what he did. Hephzibah is very worried. She doesn't want anyone to know her brother's secret. She thinks she might have the paper he's looking for. So she goes into the attic to look. But all she finds is an old wooden box. She takes the box to her room and hides it under her bed. That night, she dreams of a dark staircase. At the top of the stairs is a man with a sword. He's pointing the sword at her heart. She wakes up crying. Just then, she hears a loud noise from downstairs. She goes to investigate, but no one is there. Then she remembers the box. Maybe something important is inside. She goes to the attic again and opens the box. There's a picture of the house inside. Behind the picture is a folded piece of paper. Hephzibah takes the paper to Geoffrey. He opens it and reads it. But it's not what he expected. He screams and falls to the floor. Then he gets up and runs to the couch. He sits down and slowly closes his eyes. Hephzibah and Phoebe run to him, but he's dead. Geoffrey isn't the first Pyncheon to die in that house. The colonel died in the same chair, and now Geoffrey is dead on the same couch. Hephzibah and Phoebe are scared. They think the family curse is real. But then Holgrave says, "This isn't the curse. This is the end of the curse." He explains that his last name is Mole. He's related to the man who was put to death a long time ago. He says, "Maybe I'm here to end the curse, not start it." He asks Phoebe to marry him. She says yes. Now the main characters are free from the curse. They leave the house and go to live in the country. The house is empty again. Now, you know the story of the house of the Seven Gables. What did you think? Did you like the story? Did it scare you? Why do you think Hephzibah and her brother Clifford finally left the house? What do you think the curse was about? Tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.